with Grafted In. Here we are once again, Donna, having an opportunity to share about an upcoming trip to
an amazing
Israel.
trip.
Amazing trip, absolutely.
Life-changing trip.
It's this year we're going from June 3rd through 19th. We go every year. You're welcome to join us.
Yes, you are.
On the screen, you'll see the phone number of the church. You can call us or the email and email us if you want details on pricing and what we're going to do. But 2 weeks ago, we talked about our first 5 days in Israel, which will be in the Shamron, a beautiful Eshel HaShamron hotel, and the places we're going to visit up there, Shiloh and
We never
Alon
spoke
Moray.
about the replicas that he's building out in the back of the hotel.
Oh, that would be a good thing to share. Maybe at a later time we'll do that.
Yes, we will.
Then last week we talked about the second 5 days we'll be in Jerusalem, staying at the Prima Royale, having an opportunity to go to the old city, to the Western Wall, and
through the
tunnels, and to Ben Yehuda Street, which is the very popular shopping district downtown Jerusalem. So we'll have a great time there. And then we leave Jerusalem and we travel up to Tiberias, which is up on the Sea of Galilee. Actually, this year we're going to be staying at the En Gev resort, which is on the eastern side of the Sea of Galilee, right under the Golan Heights. And you'll look out your windows across the Sea of Galilee, and you'll look to Tiberias, and you'll look to Mount Arbel.
Yes, that'll be a nice, different place.
But before we get ourselves up there, on our way up there, we stop
at Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel. And what's Mount Carmel?
Mount Carmel, well, the people in the audience probably know Mount Carmel as all the fires that were just were just having. So that made news about Mount Carmel, had all that. But when we get up to the top of there, actually, one of the exciting things that we see is the Air Force, not the Air Force, the idea, is it the Air Force? Where you can watch and all of a sudden you hear planes, and from what we have heard, there's always a plane in the air, just surrounding the place. And all of a sudden you'll hear the plane, and it's coming down, and all of a sudden it just like seems to disappear, because their landing space is underneath the mountain there.
The air base is underneath the ground, and they land and then taxi immediately underground.
That's right. But from up there, you can look down and you can just see all around. And
so what's that valley we're looking at?
That is the Valley of Armageddon.
And Armageddon is where what's going to happen.
The last battle between Gog and Magog is going to take place. It's amazing, though, when you sit there and you look down there, and there are little villages under there and everything. And when you recall that they say that the blood is going to be running up to the girth of a horse, and you see there are people there. There are people there, and it's just a kind of sobering time to reflect and look down in that valley and know that prophecy will be fulfilled.
That's right. And there you are standing on Mount Carmel, where the prophets of Baal, who claimed that their God was stronger than God, do you remember,
with
cried out, and their God wouldn't ignite the altar, and Elijah cried out to God, demonstrate yourself, and fire fell from heaven.
That's right.
Well, it's that same valley where the Battle of Armageddon is going to take place. And then when we get up into the Galilee itself, of course, we'll visit Capernaum. We'll see Peter's house. They've excavated the foundation of what they believe was Peter's house.
We see Peter's mother's house, too.
Yeah, and we'll
mother-in-law's house.
That is the place where Yeshua did a lot of his preaching and teaching.
Yes.
And so
that is where he carried on his ministry.
That's right. So we'll be right in the middle of that place.
That's where the woman with the issue of blood
walked
down the street, and that she came to reach for the hem or the tzitzit of his garment.
That's right.
That's right on there. We walk in those same places where he walked.
Absolutely. And then we'll have some time on the Sea of Galilee itself. We'll have time up at Mount Arbel.
Yes.
Where you can see all of the Sea of Galilee. But Mount Arbel was probably a mountain that Yeshua went to pray a lot.
To pray, because he would say that he went up to the mountain to pray.
And that's the tallest mountain right there on the Sea of Galilee. And it's right alongside Mount Arbel is the way that Yeshua would have walked from Nazareth to the Sea of Galilee.
That's right, and we know that. We know that between that mountain, as we stand up there on Mount Arbel, we look down and we can see the valley through which he walked through to get to Capernaum.
Right. And then we'll spend a day up on the Golan Heights. Again, not many tours will take people up there. I mean, especially Christian tours, they want to see different things. but we think the Golan Heights is very important to understand its history, to understand its political ramifications today. We go up into the Golan Heights, and what was once a barren land when Syria controlled the Golan Heights, it was just minefields. There was no farming going on. There was nothing up there. And now you drive through the Golan Heights.
But it's just amazing to be climbing up there, and then all of a sudden you come up to this top part, and it's just thriving, green fields of things that people are growing up there. It's just an amazing
Wheat
sight.
fields and all kinds of crops growing up in the Golan Heights. We get to spend some time at the olive factory, where they make olive oil, and that's always a delight, especially for the women.
Yes, the women like it there. They get their supply every year by going there.
Absolutely. And then we go to what's called the Valley of Tears, where one of the most significant battles in Israel's modern history ever took place, where it seemed that the surprise attack in the Yom Kippur War, where Israel was literally days from being wiped out.
That's right.
And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Syrian tanks were pouring across the battle lines, and only a handful of Israeli tanks were in position to stop them.
That's right.
And it's a powerful, powerful witness to the courage of young Israelis who did everything they could to prevent their homeland from being overrun by an enemy bent on destroying them. We'll probably this year again have some opportunity to visit the 188th Tank Battalion. To see, what they do and how these young men are prepared to defend their nation. While we're up there this year, by the way, we're going to do something we've never done, or go to a place we've never gone, that is. We're going to go to Tel Dan.
Yes.
And Tel Dan marks the northern part of Israel's kingdom, when it says that Israel goes from Dan to Beersheba. Beersheba is down by Gaza, down in that southern part, and Dan is in the northern part, and they've excavated Tel Dan just in the last several years. And so we're going to have an opportunity.
It seems like wherever they excavate, they find the ruins of something that's there. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Everywhere you're finding history wherever you dig in Israel.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Then on a more human side, human nature side, we have some strong connections with the Jewish Lubavitch group in Tiberias. This is an organization there that run not only a soup kitchen, but they run a daycare center for children from disadvantaged families. And the upper part of Tiberias, there's a lot of poverty in there. People who have moved to Israel, who have made Aliyah, but they don't have the wherewithal at this point to earn a living. And so there's a lot of poor people living there. And Chabad goes in and they provide these children with an education. And you haven't seen anything until you've seen the children of Israel.
That's right.
And so our friend Zev...
They do steal your heart.
They do. Our friend Zev will take us there, and Zev made Aliyah from Brooklyn, New York. I think he came right out of the hippie movement.
He looks like a hippie still.
And we'll spend an hour or so with these children. Speaking of children, we also get to see children up in the Shamron. When we're in some of the communities. All of the communities provide daycare centers for the working parents who are going to the cities. They take care of their own. But they're just delightful children. And one of the highlights, I think that's a highlight of our tour.
It's being right in with the people.
That's right. And the babies and the children, and you're seeing pictures of this on the screen now as we're talking, but every year, this is a hit. And I think of how many countless tours go to Israel, and they see the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, or they see this Christian site or this Christian site.
Mount of the Ascension or whatever.
And they're seeing places, but they're not meeting and seeing the people
of the land. That's
right. As you see people in faces flashing across the screen as we talk, this is what it's about. It's a connection with the people.
Yes, it is.
And many times people will say to Donna and I, why is it that you and your congregation are so involved with the Jewish people there? And it's because of something that Jesus, Yeshua, said.
That's right.
And he talked about giving a cup of cold water or offering bread or visiting people who are sick or meeting the needs. And he said, when you've done that to the least of these my brethren, you've done that to me.
That's right.
And you know, many people have thought, well, my brethren, aren't those Christians? When Yeshua spoke those words, there were no Christians.
No, there were none.
His brethren have always been the Jew.
That's
because
right.
he is Jewish.
That's right. He is.
He not was, he is. He is Jewish. His mother Miriam was Jewish. His father Joseph was Jewish. All of his disciples were Jewish. When he comes back, he's not coming back to the Vatican. He's not coming back to the United States. He's coming back to Jerusalem. He will reign for 1,000 years from Jerusalem. And so when he says, people come into his presence and he says, well done, you've done these great things for me. When you did it unto these my brethren,
that's right.
You did it unto me.
That's
and
right.
so the pictures you're seeing on the screen of these his brethren, of men and women of all kinds and natures, of children, of babies, right. These are his brethren.
That's right.
And so when we go to Israel, we want to connect with his brethren. We want to make a connection with the boys, the girls, the men, the women, the lifeblood of Israel, the people of Israel.
And we do that in every place that from the Shomron, all the way through Jerusalem. We make divine connections with the people. And we take a part of them with us, but we leave a part of us with them as well.
That's right.
And at a time when they need to know that there are people that are standing with them and that love them, that connection, we can give a supply. Here in America, we can give a supply to them, letting them know we love you and we stand with you and you're not alone.
And again, that brings up the thing. I mean, we've been going every year for what?
Yes.
8 years now. We've gone to Israel. And people ask, well, is it really safe to go there?
Yes,
and I always describe it with a picture that sticks fervently in my mind, vividly. We were sitting in the old city one day, and I guess it was a Friday because we were coming into Shabbat. And this little boy and this little girl, I want to say the boy must have been maybe six, the little girl maybe 3 or 4,
Yep.
holding hands in hands, and they run down the street by us, all by themselves. And they go into a little store, and they're buying the challah bread, apparently
yep.
for Shabbat. And they come running back with it. And suddenly it struck me, that mother felt perfectly safe letting her 2 little children run down several blocks, however it was, to the market to get the bread and run back. And here we are in Fitchburg. And I thought, I would not be comfortable sending a little boy and a little girl by themselves 5 or 6 blocks downtown Fitchburg without me being around.
That's right.
Without a parent being around. And you see, people think of Israel and they think of terrorists or things like that.
And that is true in the background of their life.
And while that's true, but there's no day-to-day fear of molesters or predators or people who are going to abuse. That just
doesn't happen.
That doesn't exist.
That just does not exist
on
either side of the wall.
And the people of the communities watch out for each other.
Yes, they do.
And we have always felt safe in Israel,
right.
Whether we're in Israel proper, whether we're in the Shomron or in Hebron or places like that. We always feel safe when we're in Israel.
That's right.
And beyond that, however, I think for the Christian, there is a connection with Israel, with the land. My friend Moshe Kopensky, and Moshe runs a bookstore in the Cardo that deals a lot with Christians and Jewish dialogue, and you're probably seeing a picture of him on the screen right now. But Moshe's a delightful man, love him like a brother. And Moshe says this to me, he says, a lot of Christians will come to Israel with the intention of blessing Israel, but they find that in the end, the very land of Israel blesses them. The rabbis tell us that the land speaks.
Yes,
that the land itself will speak to you.
Yes, it will.
And many, many people who have gone with us to Israel find it a very emotional experience because of where we go, that we'll take you to places that actually connect you to the land.
But they connect you to the biblical background of the land. Everywhere we walk, the Bible is coming alive. It's not just stories you're reading anymore. You've walked where Abraham walked. You've walked where Yeshua has walked. It's just an amazing. I don't think that your life as a Christian is fulfilled until you've gone and you've walked that land. Because everything you're reading is just stories until you've actually been there and walked the land and smelled the smells and seen the sights, and it gets into your very core of your being.
That's right.
And it's amazing.
And even until you've eaten a falafel.
Even until you've eaten a falafel.
Well, this is Pastor Don Long. It's been a delight to have you for these 3 weeks as we talked about our upcoming tour. Information about that is on your screen. We'd love to have you join us. Yes. We look forward to seeing you next week on Grafted In.